Welcome back to Right Answers Mostly, a podcast on what you didn't learn in history class, but you really wanted to. My name is Tess Bellomo.
And my name is Claire Donald.
And we have a fun, interesting episode for you kids today. It's a little bit different.
Well, I'm wearing my pearls for the occasion. Tess and I, if you're watching on YouTube, look a little preppier.
Preppier, a little bit more feminine, perhaps.
Yes.
I thought it'd be interesting to talk about Tradwife culture. Tradwifes are taking over the internet. It is an interesting discussion on feminism and social media and influencer culture. And I've just been fascinated with it recently. So I thought, why not just have a conversation?
Well, yeah. And I've said to you so many times that nothing challenges my feminism more than Tradwife culture. So I'm so excited to learn more about it. I feel like until last month, even I was like, oh, Tradwife stands for traditional wife.
It took me literally until last week. I was like, oh, I don't know what I even thought it was.
Well, me either. I thought it was just, I don't know. But also they've just been popping up out of nowhere.
They have been, I mean, it's become so trendy in the past year, I feel.
Yeah.
And so guys, if you don't know what the definition of Tradwife is it's short for traditional wife, and it is a woman who embraces and promotes traditional gender norms within marriage, typically choosing to stay at home to focus on homemaking, child rearing, and supporting her husband as the primary breadwinner.
Okay, so that's the problem. I feel like it's the last bit of that definition that I take issue with.
Oh, 100%.
Because I don't want to lean into second wave feminism. It's so boring to be we must reject femininity. We must reject a woman wanting to lean into any slight gender norms. I'm not about that. But to give up your power completely is a whole different conversation.
I mean, there's nothing feminist about that. And there's nothing feminist about being submissive to a man. That is literally the whole problem.
That's the opposite.
Yeah. And I think in this episode a lot, which we always explore on Miriam, both things can be true. We can feel a certain way about something that they do, not everything. However, I implore us just to have a very honest conversation about how it makes us feel. We're living in a challenging time, a difficult political climate where women's rights are being taken away. And so I think it's okay to feel a certain way about this and to be truthful.
The wave of conservatism in Gen Z is shocking. I've never seen more mullets in my life.
I was just reading something the other day that Gen Z is the most conservative generation.
Okay, cue Tyra Banks. We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
But literally, I was shocked. I was I thought that Gen Z was going to save us all.
I know, but honey, we have to save ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No one can save us now, Claire.
No, it's so true.
So Claire, from viral sourdough tutorials to perfectly curled hair and pearls while vacuuming, the Tradwife is back, and whether you like it or not, she is trending. So the Tradwife often emphasizes femininity, domesticity, submission to one's husband, and a return to what is perceived as simpler pre-feminist values.
Okay, simpler for who?
So in this episode, we're going to talk a lot about how Tradwives want to go back to a simpler time. And we are going to talk about how that is so not only sexist, but very racist.
Yeah, it's about to say it's so MAGA coded.
It's so MAGA coded. It's literally simpler for who. Mm-hmm. And you can't just pick out, it's not fucking cafeteria style. And I think it's important before we get into the current times with social media that we talk about, because I think before we romanticize anything, we need to talk about the roots of where it came from before we make little pretty TikTok videos about it. Yeah. So I think it's important to talk about 18th and 19th century marriage as a legal doctrine and how we even got to this place.
Talk about it, Tess. Talk about it.
Or legalite. Okay, so let's take it back. 18th, early 19th century, American women's submission was not merely suggested, Claire. It also had the force of law. Married women lived under the legal doctrine of coverture, in which their individual legal identities were subsumed under those of their husbands. Wives' submission to their husband was for her protection and her benefit, making her a favorite under the law. So what this essentially means is that legally, once you get married, you are not an individual anymore. Like, it's all for your husband. Your rights are taken away, and you are like morphed into one person, but with only your husband benefiting from it.
But you know what's interesting on that is like the alternative is that you're a spinster who has to go to a coven and gets made fun of their whole life for being single past 25.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of like, isn't this a theme in life? Like, you just can't win as a woman, can you?
No.
You really can't. So in reality, what coverture did was it erased wives' independent legal identities under the guise of protection and care from husbands. And this legal framework dictated that a married woman owned no property. She could not have anything in her name. Any wages that she made belonged to her husband. And an even darker part of this whole thing, which is very disturbing, was that under coverture, wives had clearly no defined parental rights, and their bodies were not their own. So marital rape, for example, was not considered a crime until the 18th century. And Claire, it did not become a crime in all 50 states until 1993.
That's so disgusting. And I'm just like, you guys, even like the 1800s were not that long ago that like this is the way that the world was. So like, of course, this is going to be so triggering, this Tradwife stuff, because we cannot go back to this.
No, and like I was 2 years old when marital rape became a crime in all 50 states of this country. Like, our mothers lived through this time, and I think it's really disturbing.
Yeah, and also an update from last week's Teddy Roosevelt episode. We were trying to remember when women were allowed to go to Harvard, and it was the 70s. Not until the 70s that women could go to Harvard.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
yeah, it's always like a slap in the face of reality, which is why we just have to keep having these, literally having these conversations, and talking about it is important. So, in certain circumstances as well, domestic abuse was condoned as a corrective measure to the submissive wife. And women's access to divorce in early American history was very limited. Some colonies and later states permitted divorce under certain circumstances, and the number of states providing for access for marital separation would expand over time. And though relatively few women were like, oh, I maybe should take advantage of separation or divorce, because then what's the alternative? And how scary is it to not even like have rights during that? And remember what we said about parental rights, like what will happen to me if I'm not married to this man?
well, also we're not putting like women in the workforce, or even equal pay, you know, so it's like, how are you supposed to support yourself and supposed to support your family?
Exactly. Like, it's so scary to think of the alternative, and it's like, it's scary in both situations.
And again, society is like, you are a divorced woman. Like for so long, that was like, you are used goods.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So 18th and 19th century women did not possess rights as full citizens in the United States. Historically, citizenship rights have been linked to gender. Tradwives who claim that women are naturally suited for submission to male authority and thus deserving the protection from men are implicitly condoning women's second-class citizenship. And that's a very black and white, like, yes, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, of course. And that goes against feminism, because feminism is just the equal rights for women. P.S. equal rights, not that women are above, or I mean, I have my thoughts on that, but that they are equal.
That's all it fucking is. Like, anyone's so triggered by it, you know, I suggest that you explore that a little bit, because I think feminism has always had that stigma of like, oh, well, you've seen it, you guys deserve more. And it's like, that's literally not even the definition. Like, look it up in the dictionary.
If you think that us asking for equal is taking away from you, then like, what does that mean?
Look further within thyself.
Yeah. Also, I feel like, you know what movie like really put it in perspective what it was like to be a woman in society is Pride and Prejudice. Like the fact that like you get to a certain age and your mission is to marry a man, not just for yourself, but for your family.
That's so true. I mean, we really should cover Jane Austen, because
Yes.
all of her books are just about like the stress of not being able to be married.
Yeah, when I saw Pride and Prejudice in theaters for the 20th anniversary, the scene where her sister is like, I'm 27 and I'm unmarried. There's nothing left for me in this life. Everyone just LOL'd.
I mean, and thank God we're at a place too where it's like that is comedy, but like
Yes.
it wasn't for a very long time. It was like, well, your life is going to be ruined and you're going to amount to nothing.
Yes.
And it's like, good God. So yeah, like I mentioned before, it wasn't until the 1970s that married women had the right to obtain credit cards separate from their husbands. And I think we've also talked about this before, which I don't have in my notes, but there was something about the pill, right? Like they wouldn't give out the pill to single women.
No, it was to married women. Like married women, they wouldn't get. No, it was to single women. Like married women, I think you could have the pill, and single women, you couldn't have the pill. Which is like, make that make sense.
Yeah, like, and then you're gonna slut shame for like women, or deny access to abortion for single women that get it's just crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Not, so much does not make sense, and that's why it's so aggravating.
But it's not about what it's about. It's not about women's reproductive rights. It's about women's reproductive control, and like that's why those laws were made.
Exactly.
It's so funny having this conversation in pearls. I love it. Dualite.
Dualite, honey. I know. I wish we had a martini.
Me too. I'm like, I just like go get a bottle of gin out the freezer. And now that's true to form for 50s Housewives if we're going to talk about it.
It sure is. And we might need a martini after the end of this episode because I already feel my blood pressure rising. So the 19th Amendment passage in 1920, we're just going to go through a little bit more of these facts to all get on the same page. Nearly a century and a half after the nation's founding, granted some women suffrage, though it would not be decades before all women could vote. Women could not serve on juries until the 1870s, although this has kind of been like mixed in research. But yeah, we're seeing all of the laws that just completely prohibit women from being able to like be an active citizen.
So women couldn't do jury duty?
We can't bring something. It should be an option, right? You should be able to opt out to be like, I'm just a woman.
No, there's something to it. Yeah.
To it. So let's jump a little bit to the 1950s, okay? Because we have post-World War II American Dream. And what do you think about during the American Dream, Claire? Like, what images come up for you?
I see a white family with 2 kids and like a white picket fence, a woman in pearls with martini vacuuming, and a little bit of Quaaludes.
Of course, the Quaaludes.
Of course. Mama's little yellow pills.
Had to, take something just to make the days go by.
Yeah, no kidding.
Boring as hell.
Yeah, but it's white, perfect, like squeaky clean. I think of Mad Men.
Exactly. That's totally what it was. And we also have like this influence of media at the time that was Good Housekeeping, I Love Lucy, 1950s homemaker ads. And the big quote of the time was a woman's place is in the home, a woman's place is in the kitchen. The woman in an apron being like, I love being here. And it's like, spoiler alert, no, she didn't. No, she fucking didn't.
High out of her mind, crying to herself until her family got home.
Yep, exactly. And it's like, it's actually interesting that the start of like home appliances, like dishwasher even, and like a crock pot and air fryer and laundry machines, like all of that was such a monumental movement for women to be able to be like, oh, it's no longer going to take me 6 hours to make this fucking bread or to like heat up this chicken. And so with that, we move into the 60s and the 70s, and women are like, I don't have to be in the kitchen for all day and I don't have to be doing my husband's laundry. And so Claire, what do we see in the 60s?
Well, we see second wave feminine. We see second wave feminism, of course.
We do. And what images do you have in your mind of this time?
Long hair, middle parts, like smoking weed, popping the birth control pill, like living free and living fast, baby. The pendulum swung the complete opposite way.
Yes, it was like burn your bra.
Yeah.
We no longer need to be submissive to men. And the housewife suddenly becomes a symbol of what feminists were fighting against.
It was completely different. Yeah. I mean, also there was so much like happening within the world of like access to information and stuff was becoming more available in the civil rights movement. It was just like the 60s was a crazy time.
I know. I would love just to go back for a weekend,
Yeah. And then get the hell out.
Yeah. And Lord knows we might be saying that about 2025 too when we look back on our
Oh,
our
God.
lives.
Mom, come get me. I'm scared. Like, truly.
Yeah, no, I know. It is scary. And to kind of end this overall history, I also thought it was important to mention 2016, because then I think when you're in it, and like we were in our 20s during that, and it's sort of important to be like, oh, that was this huge movement and this huge historical time where a lot of things changed and the culture completely changed. Our conversations were very different. And 2016 really embodied, obviously, it was like the Me Too movement. And then it was the girl boss era.
I was hoping you were going to bring up the girl boss era, Tess.
And please, Claire, to finish this series, what do you picture? What images come to mind in the girl boss era?
Okay, so we're all wearing business casual, even at the club, because we got to keep that girl boss vibe going.
We're working.
We're working. We are starting female co-working spaces like the Wing. Nasty Gal founder was like, you can do it. You can do it on your own. And like, yeah, you just got to be a boss babe.
Boss babe. It was rose gold. It was everyone.
Rose gold.
Did you have a girl boss like little thing on your desk?
I mean, of course. Like,
Yeah.
I loved this era.
We thrived in this era because
We started 4 different production companies in this era.
we literally did with, many different names, and none of them really stuck, but we finally got there. Here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, this was our era, Tess.
This was like the era for the girls that grew up in the early 2000s of, like groovy girls, be the girl you want to be. Like it finally came full circle where it was like, I just want to run my own business and I want to be outspoken. And finally, the girls that were told that they were too bossy and to shut the fuck up when they were young, like finally had like this like empowerment, and it felt really nice. Didn't it?
100%. It was the girls who were raised on Spice Girls, like girl power, let's go.
Exactly. And we also, like, men were unlearning a lot of things during this time, but women were also unlearning a lot of things
Yes.
and having reflection of experiences of just being like, oh, like, even something as simple as like, we don't have to send as many exclamation points in an email. Like that was even like news in 2016. It was like, oh, we can be direct.
No, totally. And like, I never will be, and there will always be an exclamation point, but that's so true. And this was the first time that we had a major party candidate be a female for president. So sorry to take it there.
Well, we can always live in that dream and live in that hope.
It's really sad that we didn't have each other during this time.
I needed you so bad.
Yeah, because Tess and I met in 2017.
We would have been Carol Raswell season 9 when she's like, I'm depressed, I can't get out of bed because Hillary didn't win.
Well, we were just solo.
Separately
Imagine
crying.
the powers that would be.
Yeah, it would have been dark.
It really would have been.
But powerful,
Mm-hmm.
So that brings us to today. I wanted just to, go through where we've been, how we got here, and just also knowing the importance of the dark history of this country for women. And like we are 2 white women,
Yes.
so like we can only say so much. And before we just like make it all social media obsessive and romanticize it, like those laws are really fucked up.
I also don't want anyone to get confused with what we're saying. Like, I'm not talking about a stay-at-home mom.
Not at all.
This is not, that is feminism, to have the choice to be a stay-at-home mom or the choice to go work. Both are equally important for the world to turn. We need both women. This is a woman being submissive to her husband.
Exactly. That's important to say, because I'm also not saying like no one should be a wife. I'm a wife. I really like being a wife. I love being married. Like, it is not about that, but it's about the submission part, that you have to know where that came from and the choices that women didn't have to now be glorifying that feels sick to me.
Glorifying giving up your power as a woman.
Yes. And not being able to, I think a partnership it's 50-50. Like you should be able to state your opinion and to have a voice in decisions that you make as a couple. Like nothing is cute about it being like, Alexis Bellino, my husband is my king, and whatever. Like, and we were seeing that in like the 2010s of like, it's all what he thinks, it's what he says, and it's like that's crazy to me.
Well, no, it's just not gonna work. Well, no.
It's just saying that men are the superior ones and they're the only smart ones to be able to make decisions. They're the strong ones, and like that we cannot stand for.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But if you like baking bread and staying home, fucking go off, queen, you know?
Yeah, so it's also like some of the trad wives though are confusing ballerina farms. And oh my God, I got in trouble on TikTok from trad wife lovers because I said that ballerina farms was like Marie Antoinette and like cosplaying pioneer people, how like Marie Antoinette cosplayed poor people. And I got attacked for it, but like I stand by it. Why I say she's confusing, and we might just talk about this on a completely different subject and I'll shut up, is because like she gave up her career in dreams and it seems like her husband told her to do so. It wasn't quite by choice.
Exactly. And we will never know, you know, and a lot of people comment on that and they're like, but what if she changed her mind and women should be able to want to have this dream and then to switch and say, actually, there is power in just being a mother. And like, I completely agree with that. You don't have to have the same dream from when you were 18 to mid 20s to 30s, but it doesn't fully seem like that was the case. And I think if she presents it that way, it's a little disturbing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So, which brings us to today. We're going to talk about ballerina farms. We're going to talk about Nara Smith. We are going to talk about who are today's trad wives. And I would like to start with a quote, Claire. I started by making some really simple sandwich bread. While the dough was rising for about 2 hours, I began cooking down raspberries for jam and roasting peanuts to make peanut butter.
That was such a good Nara Smith test. I'm so impressed. My kids woke up and wanted cereal, so I made it from scratch. Like,
yeah. Wow. So if you guys don't know, please go on TikTok and look up Nara Smith and Hannah Nealman, I think is her name, who's Ballerina Farm.
I would rather watch Ballerina Farms all day than Nara Smith because of her freaking voice memos, voiceovers.
For me personally, Nara Smith does not like calm me down. There are people that say that she, you know, kind of like ASMR and it's like so soothing. But we have these TikTokers, right? It's Estee Williams is another one. She's like very traditional blonde hair, like feels very MAGA to me. And what it is, so there's this visual aesthetic is like the first component. It's women that are baking, cleaning, child rearing in vintage dresses. It's hyper feminine. It's hyper controlled. There's hashtags like Tradwife, soft life, homemaking. It's like aspirational lifestyle branding.
Yes.
And it echoes cottagecore, slow living, anti-hustle aesthetics.
Which again, the pendulum swung the complete opposite way because we had girl boss before this.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of white women that are trad wives on TikTok that use hashtag submissive wife, hashtag traditional wife, hashtag biblical marriage.
Ugh.
And some Black female creators who are trad wives use more hashtags, just like trad wife or traditional wife. But you do see like some weird, like religious, MAGA, alt-right things coming in with a lot of white trad wives.
But I feel like trad wives are so hot right now in the Mormon community.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because Ballerina Farms is Mormon.
Yeah, I think that's why they have 9 kids.
I was about to ask, how many kids are they up to, like 20 at this point?
It's just like, I mean, I'm just truly like, how does her body keep going?
No, I know. I mean, don't even get me started on like the Duggars who are from my hometown who have 19. Like, they must just, I'm not going to be graphic, but you guys know what I'm thinking.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. So yes, Hannah Nelman was a, she did go to Juilliard.
Yeah, I think she was currently at Juilliard.
Yes, and then she dropped out to move on a farm with her husband, and then they started like knocking out kids left and right. And her videos, I mean, now she's super rich and has a protein powder and sells her own Ballerina Farm things, but it's videos of her, you know, cooking and doing farm work and truly child rearing.
She, her husband's family, I think her husband's dad's like the CEO of JetBlue.
Yeah, I think they're
rich, bitch. But that's like most of these trad wives are extremely wealthy.
And that's what we're going to talk about. Like, it's a monetization form. So that's why a lot of people are like, well, these aren't actually like, this is not trad wife. This is like cosplaying a trad wife because this is like, they are getting a shit ton of money for posting this. So isn't that feminism because they're supporting themselves? So we're going to talk about that.
One of our Rammies put that in our close friend. We posted a close friend story, and one of our Rammies said that. I was like, God, the Rammies are just so smart.
I know, so smart. I was like, thank you for bringing it there.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did we get here and why did this become trendy? I think there are two things of why this is so popular right now. One, which we've talked about a little bit, is burnout from lean in culture. And we always see the pendulum switch when it's like, folks are exhausted, women can't do it all, this isn't sustainable. I don't actually want to be a girl boss. And I felt kind of excluded during that. So it is the opposite.
Which is fair because there are people who like don't want to own their business. There are, women who like don't want to be a CEO, and that's so fair.
Yeah, and it's like it sucks that with these movements, like there is this like innate exclusion, like even during girl boss. It's like, well, if you don't feel like you're a girl boss and if you actually don't like have this passion for working, then you're kind of not like in with the trend right now. And it's like that's lonely for women that just want to be moms, which is
Yeah,
such a hard
exactly.
job. And that's being a girl boss in and of itself. And so it's like it sucks that we're always kind of like left out.
Well, also like the phrase girl boss too. Like, why do we have to put the word girl in front of it? And for that matter, girl versus woman.
It belittles it a little bit. It minimizes
Definitely.
it. That is the first sort of reason why this is becoming trendy. And the second reason, Claire, is economic anxiety and nostalgia. In times of instability, people romanticize, quote, simpler times, which we're going to talk about how simpler times is a problematic way to refer to this. And, right now, cost of living and, but the tariffs.
But the tariffs, oh my God.
So people are stressed out. And I think like what happens with that is being like, but remember when like we could just like go outside and like get some eggs from the chickens and
No.
I
was going to get chicken nuggets at Burger King,
Yeah, this has never been my truth. Like
Yeah.
when I'm stressed out or depressed, I'm not like, but like let's go back to the 50s.
No, I'm definitely not saying that.
But I guess some people do.
Yeah, some people are.
Some people do. So those are kind of the major things. And I do think it's important to talk about right now, the returning to a simpler time and the negative connotations in this country when we say something like that. Because when you are saying, let's return to a simpler time, it completely ignores the racial dynamics and makes it just this simple thing, which nothing in our country has simple history, and especially for Black people. And in short, due to Jim Crow laws, African American women weren't allowed to be homemakers unless they were catering to white families. And this legacy can't be understated. According to data from the Pew Research Centers collected in 2014 and 2016, traditional married stay-at-home mothers with a working husband are the most common types among Asians, whites, and Hispanics. And the report stated that only 7% of stay-at-home mothers were Black women, as opposed to 49% who were white. And so I think that's very important to note.
Well, we talked about this in our Madam C.J. Walker episode. When she was working as a laundress, like the women had to be in that community the breadwinners a lot of the time.
Exactly. And so I think it's just it's heavily weighted and different to have this conversation about white tradwives versus Black tradwives.
Well, also that history at the beginning of like women when they got married, that's also white history.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it really begs a lot of questions that I think we can talk about. And the first of these questions is tradwifery a choice or compliance? And there are two sides to that. Like there's the critics who argue the choice to do this is made with unequal power dynamics, like we've been talking about. Like it's not like I'm staying at home and I feel really respected and heard and seen. It's like you're staying at home because that's your place.
Yeah, yeah.
But many of these tradwives, like we also said, are relying on social media income, contradicting claims of rejecting capitalism. So it's kind of two sides of the coin.
Well, we saw that a lot on Secret Life of Mormon Wives, of these women like starting to own their power and be the breadwinners in the house, and see how their husbands struggled with that as well. Like I'm thinking of Jen and Zach a lot, and how also because the sole income of the household is coming from TikTok, it's not taken as seriously.
We always see that with even like we talked about that with women that act or model, or like there's so many like negative connotations to the way that women can make their own money if it's not like a what we perceive as successful.
Yeah, but it is like you guys clock that Tradwives, because if you're a Tradwife, you're not making any income. You have no agency over your life, because if something were to happen, you don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah. And it's like when we talked about the history of like women not being able to own their own credit card or to be like, and I think in Housewives was also eye-opening to this when a lot of women up until a few years ago were like, I've never signed anything that has to do with our mortgage or our bills or legal things. Like I let my husband do it because like that's not for the girlies. And it's like that's so that can be very dangerous.
We're talking about Real Housewives.
Real Housewives, yes.
Yes,
I'm so
yes,
sorry.
yes.
But that's very common of women just to be like, oh, and I even struggle with that sometimes. I'm like, oh, I don't want to have to do that. And like,
Well, of course, it's also like there is a certain trust in marriages where it's not about like even the gender dynamic. It's just like one person might be better at finances and that person might happen to be the male in the relationship, you know?
exactly. But then, you're Erica Jane and look what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look where she's at now. And that's a very extreme version of this, but yikes.
She would be very like Tradwife-ish. Well, kind of, but then she has her own career, but she played like homemaker.
She was always so interesting because it was very like, I don't speak back to him and I cater to him and it's whatever he wants. And then her career was this like, he was so supportive of it when she was very, very sexualized and yeah.
But that was Erica Girardi was when she was the wife, and Erica Jane was the pop star.
That's right. There were two of them.
Hannah Montana.
Hannah Montana. So also the Tradwife fantasy is really only accessible to women whose partners can afford for them not to work. Like we were saying, like this is like a rich community. So that leaves a lot of women out of this dream. And I think that's important to note too, that there is like privilege in being able to only have one person working.
You know what's so interesting too, that I think why Tradwives is also taking off so much is because it's the facade of social media in general, and like why so many people just want to be influencers, because people are like, I want to get money without doing any work really. And it's a facade because like I'm also wondering how these women creating content takes so much time. So
Oh my
I'm wondering
God.
how these women have time to make the content, be a traditional wife and mother, because that being a stay-at-home mom is a 24/7 job. So it's all not what it seems to be.
Yeah. And it's like, if you guys look up like Nara Smith, she is in these elaborate outfits. Her hair is done in every video. She has full glam. They're beautifully shot. The editing's really good. There's a voiceover throughout. I mean, that video probably takes like hours to have the outcome of that.
It
And
does.
it's like, damn.
Plus, she's like cooking it, and like all that stuff takes time to even like cook a meal.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard because it's like, I think there is also an element of feeling like you're watching that as either a stay-at-home mom, a mom that works and takes care of your kids, whatever the situation is, and being like, well, fuck, that makes me feel bad that I'm not making my kid chicken nuggets from scratch and doing the breading. And that makes me feel bad that I'm in my PJs in the morning and not in full glam. And it's like, it shouldn't have to be everyone has the same journey, but I think it can feel lonely.
Yeah. Well, babe, if your kids are fed, like who even cares where that food came from? But I will say that like thing that comes to my mind of comparison, it's like if you want to have this content, make this content, totally fine. And also like if you love consuming it, great. As long as everyone's on the same page that it's not realistic. And the same way, if you want to get plastic surgery, all of that stuff, great. I just think I appreciate when celebrities are honest about it to women to be like, I look like this. It's not just from waking up in the morning, like not selling a false narrative. Does that make sense?
100%. I completely agree. But I think that is the thing with Tradwife culture, that there is no vulnerability. There is no like taking the mask off and being like, hey guys, by the way, this setup took me 45 minutes and I can do that because I have a nanny in the other room with my kids. Like there is not that transparency, and it's so like affluential and romanticized that the female followers who are often moms are like, wait, should this be how I'm doing it?
Yeah, because Tradwife, when in that way, like Tradwife, you wouldn't have a babysitter, you wouldn't have a house cleaner. It's like on Hunting Wives when he's like, I don't understand why we need to have a house cleaner when she's a stay-at-home mom.
I do not, I mean, everyone, all of these tradwives have different situations. I am sure tons of them have monumental help.
I mean, just as a mother in general, you have to.
You have to. And so I think when there is that element of like, I do this all myself and there's nothing I love more. And it's just like, it takes a village, babe.
Yeah. I was thinking of Kristen Cavallari on the opening of her show where she was like, I mean, I do it alone. And she's like, I have a nanny, like, come 3 times a week, but I do it alone. It's like,
Also, like, oh my God. I mean, like mom shaming is really intense on TikTok. And
Yeah.
I have noticed that recently where I'm like looking up certain things and I'm like, whoa, these comments are really fucked up. I was talking to my friend about it the other day who posted TikTok and got shamed for bottle feeding. You know, it's just the most disappointing thing because it's like one of the hardest things that women have to go through. And the fact that like someone is sitting behind their fucking phone and they're telling you that you're doing it wrong. And it's also like there shouldn't be shame about having a nanny or a babysitter.
no.
Like we should all be talking about that openly of like, thank God I have someone to come over and relieve me sometimes.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Like, being a mom in general, it takes a village.
Yeah, so I don't like Kristen Cavallari being like, you know what, actually someone only comes over these days and it's when I don't, it's when, it's like you don't have to make up all these excuses, but you feel like you do because women can be very vicious on the internet with
To each other.
to each other. Like you guys, there's no, like, let's all simmer it down.
Yeah.
Just support each other.
I know. And I know people are going to be like, but you made that TikTok on the Tradwives, but like,
I think
wasn't
that's
even that bad.
I also think that's a comment on like our culture and
Yeah, it is a comment on my culture. Like, I'm not saying she's a bad mother or a bad wife. I just find her, like, the cosplay thing a little odd.
No, and I think we should always be talking about weird trends on the internet. And this is a weird trend on the internet. Like this is like not natural in a lot of ways to be seeing other moms and what they do throughout the day and looking so glammed and perfect. And it's all a little bizarre. It's all kind of like Black Mirror.
Totally. I mean, it is. That's the world we're living in now. And that's why I'm like, who are those sickos that enjoy that show, Black Mirror, you guys? Like, just look around. You don't have to turn on Netflix for that.
We did touch on this, but I think here's where I have the most problem with it. I'm sure that you will share some of my sentiments about it. It's not only the submissiveness, but it is that many tradwife influencers lean conservative or alt-right, linking femininity to nationalism. And these are mainly white women. And it's this idea of like old money and generational wealth in the United States, which intrinsically is linked to whiteness due to historical and systematic racism. The methods of performing clean girl and old money aesthetic involve trends associated with whiteness, such as literal white color, straight hair, short nails, overall plainness. And these performances additionally require a degree in wealth in order to achieve this. So once again, it's rooted in the weird, dark history of this country that gives me pause.
No, I know. It gives me pause too, Tess. Everything you just said, I echo for sure.
And it's like, if you want to hashtag like religious wife, you are religious, you are spiritual. Once again, I do not have a problem with that. I have a problem with the entire package of it. And also when people don't understand like what it does mean and to kind of be like aloof about it. And it's like, you do have to understand like anything like this, what it's rooted in. And that's just where I have a problem with it.
I think that's perfectly said.
So, and this is a whole nother conversation that you could talk about on any aspect of being an influencer or celebrity. A lot of these tradwife influencers do not directly address politics or outright endorse any politicians. Even though they're, people do their dig in and they're like, they voted for Trump or, whatever it is. And there's kind of this like far right shift by being like apolitical. And that's one other conversation too, that once again relates to like the submissive, I don't really have opinions. And it's like, I don't want to talk about politics. That's for men, rooted in a little bit of sexism.
Well, it's so interesting too, because I think that when you first hear the phrase tradwives, you do automatically go to conservative, because we also had a Rami write in and be like, is there such thing as liberal tradwives? Because I'd like love to be that, And so do you think that is just because conservative? I mean, it's just conservative. The whole idea is conservative in its nature.
Yeah. Yeah. It's conservative in its nature. We've talked about this before too, of like, what is someone with 7 million followers? What is their responsibility? And when
Totally.
the world is blowing up and when this country is in such a dark place, what do you think? Like, what do you say?
It's so hard. Like, it's so hard to know what's right because on one hand, like you have a platform. This is the world that we live in now. Like you are an influencer, so you can influence people's thoughts and opinions. On the other hand, like we should not be looking at celebrities and influencers for our moral compass and for our like political compass. But it's like, but is that we shouldn't be? We should be looking at politicians who should be public servants. But is that the world we live in?
Right. And even with politicians, it's like you shouldn't be idolizing them. Like, no one should be
Yeah.
like a fan of a politician, but that's what MAGA completely is.
Yeah.
And that is just kind of the world we live in where we follow these people every day. We know everything about their lives, but then you're like, oh, but why aren't you saying anything about who you voted for or what you think about what's going on in LA right now? And I think that can feel like, I mean, I think it can feel disappointing, but I agree
Yeah.
with you that it's like, what is the 100% right thing to do? Because then you're also getting attacked. It's hard. I mean, we feel very strongly about always wanting to state our opinion.
Yeah, but it's like different for what we do because people listen to podcasts for people's opinions on things, and like we've always been very firm in where we stand on things and feel passionate about that. I mean, that's like kind of one of the pillars of our podcast. But also, like entertainers aren't entertainers anymore. Like being a celebrity has turned into a whole other thing. And there are actors who I think are classic actors that are not out in the public eye, are not like taking paparazzi photos. So it is like two different things almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, it's like when you think of famous like rock stars and like even like the Beatles were always making political statements
Yeah.
and and so like I think I do often like refer to that of like, wow, they had such an amazing platform and like they use their voice, but that's a little different than like a random influencer who's posting outfits or
Yeah, totally.
their entire feed is just makeup to all of a sudden be like, you need to say who you voted for. I do think there is some like nuance in that.
That's such a good point because art is political. Like it just is.
100
It always
100%.
has been. It always has been. But you're so right that like we also shouldn't be screaming at some woman on the internet who that's her, she's more of a lifestyle person. Ah, God, it's hard, so hard though because I'm like, well, lifestyle, but it's like we shouldn't be like you haven't said anything, so you're the reason for the downfall of this country. Like that's not fair either. And people, and that sounds extreme. People will comment that kind of stuff.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we're seeing that right now that the internet has dug and found out that Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican. And
Crazy work though. Crazy work.
give it to it's the TikTokers, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's just like crazy work that you would register as a Republican. I'm sorry to say it, like this day and age.
That's wild to me. That's wild to me.
That's your guy. That's your guy.
That's wild to me personally. And it's like, she just did a problematic American Eagle campaign. And it's like, I'm sure that there are people, I mean, God, Trump tweeted being like, I love her. I love her. And I loved a commercial now. I was like, oh my God, this is like the world we're living in. It's just crazy. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's just crazy.
Well, I just would love to like not hear about the president for a week. Like that used to be normal. It's like if the president was doing a good job and the vice president, like we didn't hear from them. They were just working.
When were we ever hearing about Biden or Obama? Like you just were like, they're doing their thing. We'll get like a little recap probably every 6 months of like, oh, he just did that. Oh, this just happened. There was a social media moment. It should not be every day.
It's crazy.
God. And that just that alone, even if this was a Democrat person that I mostly agreed with, I'd be like, we shouldn't be hearing about you.
No, but that's like a whole other thing with media and like, God, we're going down rabbit holes now, but like, it's just a whole thing.
We knew we would get here.
Yeah. That's why we needed a martini.
Exactly.
Yeah.
God. Okay, so then I wrote a few more questions. We may have covered these already. Are these women liberated or performing femininity for the algorithm? Another one, are we really opting out or just trading one kind of labor for another?
Well, these women, again, are liberated in a way because they are able to post this. They have control of the account. Like they get money from that account. Like they're working.
Yeah.
They're working women.
100%. Being an influencer is taxing. You know? Like we're not saying it's more important than
No, but it is
other
a
things,
lot
but
of work.
both things can be true. Like
Yeah.
it's also an emotionally taxing job to
Yep.
have to be on camera and have to look a certain way and have people be vicious to you in the comments. Like it's a weird career and it is hard work.
The problem that I am having with tradwives and tradwife influencers is that you are benefiting off of feminism while trying to reject it and at the same time. And that's not fair. Like in feminism, you should benefit off of it, but then to try to lean into traditional values that take that away, traditional values, I say in quotes, like that's hypocritical.
The whole thing has a lot of hypocrisy to it.
Yeah.
Like I completely agree with you. And I guess like this is an interesting question that we can kind of end the episode with. Which one do I want to ask?
You can ask both.
That's okay. First of all, is the tradwife aesthetic a critique of modern feminism or a symptom of it?
I feel like I'm in college, like in a college class right now. I need
Same.
glasses.
I'm like, I need to repeat that 1,000 times. But I think this
Ask
is
it
kind
one
of,
more time.
it's fun for everyone to honestly
same.
think about this. Is the tradwife aesthetic a critique of modern feminism or a symptom of it? Like, did we get here because
Yeah,
of where we've been? You know what I mean?
I mean, I think a critique can be like a symptom can be a critique. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just so hard. Like, it's just so hard that women have to fight so much for equality and in turn start turning on each other. You know what I mean? Like, all to just exist.
Well, it's also
the way we want.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. And it's also interesting to think about like the fact we're doing this episode on women taking over the space on social media, what it means. If there was a trad husband fad and trend, no one would be doing a podcast about it. It would just be like, oh, men are just doing this and we don't have to interpret it and we don't have to examine it but women are always being examined. And I do think it's important because feminism is an issue that we still see today. So we have to. But sometimes you're just like, God, doesn't it suck that we kind of can't do anything without being analyzed? And we're doing that right now. But it's like, God, how can we not? Because it's so shocking.
Yeah.
And we're all not equal yet. And may never be.
Well, and that's oh God, it's just like sexism will always be, it will always be there. We're still in a patriarchal society. We all have it within us. We have to like unlearn all of these things. I don't even know what else to say.
Yeah. So it's like, that's also like can feel frustrating in and of itself. Like, I can imagine some listeners right now, like, why are we even talking about this? And why can't, I think sometimes we all get frustrated and we just want to end it with, why can't we just do whatever? Why does it have to be this conversation? And it's like, sure, that would be nice if we didn't live in the systems in which we live in and have to operate every day. But that's also just not the case. So I think having these conversations is like, it's what we got to do.
I just think about the women who have fought so hard for feminism, and it's just, again, all of these tradwives are benefiting off of feminism, though.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, it's disheartening.
Well, I guess the final question to ask is, can femininity be empowering without being regressive?
I want it to be.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's, again, like, we're not saying that a stay-at-home mom is not feminist. We're not saying that a feminine woman is not feminist. Not at all. Being submissive or being forced to be submissive to a man by the man is not feminist.
Yeah, exactly. And you guys know, like, if you are fans of this podcast, you know that is exactly what we are saying. Like, we have very strong feelings about, like, women should use their femininity to empower them and should use at times your sexuality to empower you. And just because you wear makeup and care about your appearance does not make you less of a woman. All of that, just because you like to cook and clean and be married doesn't make you less of a feminist, but it's the whole package. Yeah. Like Jessica Simpson, love, a feminist icon to me. But like, it's when it's this whole package, and unfortunately you can't just like pick and choose this, like cafeteria style. It is the entire hypocrisy of how this presents to people, and that is dangerous in a lot of ways.
It is dangerous.
So it's just a lot of food for thought, kids. It's a lot of food for thought. I think it's really just good to have these conversations. Obviously, this is like what we like to talk about. Claire and I would talk about this over happy hour probably. So you're just,
Oh, probably. Come on.
I mean,
Definitely.
you're literally hearing a lot of I kind of want to do this episode just to be able to like chit chat with you about it because it's been on my mind a lot. So I hope you guys enjoyed it and kind of got something out of it.
Yeah. And I think also with these discussions, there are times where you're like, but what do I think about that? And like, what do I actually believe about that? Because what we say so much is like people on the internet also feel like they need to have an opinion right away and things need to be black and white. And it's like, it's good to have these discussions and ask questions and like not be attacked for asking questions, and some women might be like, but what if, submission to your husband can look different in different ways too. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't know where I'm going with that, but.
Well, submission has a dark, connotation.
Yeah.
Especially when it applies to power dynamics between men and women.
Yes.
But there could be a woman listening that's saying, you know what? I like that. And I like that my husband has final say. Like, you're also allowed, girl, do your own thing.
Yes.
But I think, knowing the history of it is important.
Girl, do your own thing. Just please don't support laws that make it to where all women have to do that. And I think Tradwife culture supports that community as a whole that will pull it back for all women. Go be submissive to your husband. Have fun with that. Love that for you. But don't make me do that.
Well, it's like the same thing with, what you think about abortion rights or,
Yes.
It's like if you do not want to get an abortion, you don't have to get one, but
Don't get
make
one.
it that other women can't do what they want to do for their bodies. And, then it gets into a whole also conversation of like, if a woman likes being submissive, is that because she likes it? Is it because your own internalized misogyny that you're brought up to like believe that? So it's just so much to think about. I wanted to ask the Rammies what they thought about it, just to get we posted on Close Friends, guys. And if you are on our Close Friends, because if you get access to that, if you're on our premium channel, I was just like, what are the girlies saying? And just wanted to read a few of them. I think women can take whatever role they want, but I am scared it's setting us back. I mean, if it's a choice and not forced upon them, let they do what they want, but it's not for me. I've done several deep dives and I can't shake the feeling that this is just brainwashing. The tradwives we see on social media aren't really tradwives. They're working and making money. It's hard to be a girl's girl about it when it feels steeped in misogyny and racism. I'm a professional chef and the industry standards for women versus tradwife culture are insane. Interesting. Oh, interesting.
God, you guys are so smart.
You guys are so smart. So thank you for writing those in. There was a few more too that we kind of covered, but that's the tradwives, baby. That is the tradwives.
I do think, if you were a tradwife and you had kids, what would their kids' names be? Because we didn't even talk about, and you guys, we have to talk about Nara Smith's kids' name.
What are their names again?
Let me pull it up. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Nara Smith's kids' names are Rumble Honey, Slim Easy, and Whimsy Lou. Some names that she likes that she hasn't used are Sunday Silk, Twinkle, Velvet, Button, Mirror.
Okay. Button, Mirror.
Mirror.
Okay, guys. Also,
Frosty, Pear. So what would you name your tradwife's kids?
Let's see. I would like do different foods I like, maybe.
Yeah.
Like cream, cheese, Gouda. Maybe just cheeses, actually. Like Gouda, cheddar, burrata.
Yeah, I love that. You already said Gouda, and I love that.
What would you do?
Maybe I would like mix between Nara Smith and Ballerina Farms and be like biscuits and gravy. Like all twins and name them biscuits and gravy.
Jesus Christ.
Biscuit May and Gravy Grace. Biscuit May and Gravy Grace.
Those are cute. Cute names, but maybe not for your children. But
no, if I had a dog, I would love to name him Slim Easy, though. That's kind of cute.
That is cute for a dog. Yeah, kids. So you heard it here first. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Keep having conversations, with women around you, with yourself. It's always just like good to take a step back. I think at the world that we're living in is a little bit spooky.
Yeah, it is spooky season.
It's spooky season kind of all the time. So just keep up the the dialogue. And if you like this episode, subscribe to us everywhere at Ray Answers Mostly on TikTok and Instagram, and watch this full episode on YouTube if you want to see our cute little outfits. As we mentioned, we have a premium channel. That's 3 bonus episodes a month for $7.99 a month or $79.99 a year. You can save 15% if you get that one. And we love you guys, and like comment on what you think about this. We really want this to be engaging, talking to other Rammies about it. Like, let's just have a conversation.
We love that. Yeah. We love that so much, you guys. Thank you so much for supporting. Also, a Rammy came up to me in my workout class today and completely made my day. So if you see us, come say hi.
This happens to you all the time, and this has not happened to me. So I don't know if
you
do you guys
got
not
caught
want to
from
talk
afar.
From afar in Berkeley.
Yeah,
which that was exciting. But
yeah, it's gorgeous.
I want to feel it. I want to experience it.
I do as well. I want you to as well. It's amazing. It's amazing. We love it.
We love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.